Perfect. All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Team Washington coaches meeting. A lot is happening. I know we're getting down to crunch time, though there's been a lot of information coming out. There's still a lot of information that all of us are looking for and just waiting in anticipation. So please rest assured, we are passing everything on to you that we are getting. I don't know if I actually can assure you in any ways, but so just know that we are diligently looking for information, continuing to check the resources that they've posted for us as far as how we can gather information behind the scenes. And so anything that we have gathered, we are putting up on the Team Washington coaches page. And so basically everything that you have up there is everything that we have. So we're compiling everything and kind of putting the puzzle together. Some of you have even sent us information regarding your specific sport, so I appreciate that. And we'll kind of touch on that in a little bit later. But yeah, we're down to the wire. We're down to the wire. We're getting really excited here. Just a few weeks out. June 30th is when we all are going to be coming together. And so we're going to touch on some brand new information in this meeting and just kind of get everybody familiar, even though we've sent out information, make sure everybody knows where to be getting the information and what that information is and all that fun stuff, so we can all feel good about everything that's happening. As far as the agenda tonight, we're going to go ahead and we'll talk about equipment, uniforms, the new webpage we've created for you, as well as a families webpage, discuss transportation, what it's going to look like during the games. We're going to talk about June 30th because that's what's going to be kicking everything off. We have the schedule and all that I'm going to be going through with you. We'll discuss housing during the games. We're going to go over some forms that have been created and forms that are coming. We'll go over the schedules for each of the sports as well as all the special events. Discuss a little bit the tech manual that we are currently developing and will be available for you in your binders. And then we'll open it up for any questions. And let's see, I am getting a little bit of background noise, so if you guys can make sure to mute yourselves unless you have a question. Otherwise, I will have to go through and mute you. And just so everybody knows, if you do have a question, I would encourage you to type it up in the chat box, because then I'll be monitoring that. And that way I can see the questions coming in and get around to those if it's something we're going to already be addressing in the meeting, or I can make sure to add that and touch base or let you know that we'll follow up offline with that. Also, that's another great option if you're trying to talk and for some reason we can't hear you, just go and fill out the chat box there. Or if you don't have the chat box, just unmute yourself and chime on in. That'll work as well. All right, so I know equipment, that's a big thing right now, especially for those teams who are waiting for the equipment to come so that they can try on their shoes, their cleats, any of their shin guards, the padding, what have you. So if you listed it on your equipment order, it has been shipped to you. It has been ordered, so just because you have not received a tracking number or anything like that, it has been ordered and it's coming. They're just working through everything, so if you would like that tracking number, definitely let me know. If you did not request specifically to have equipment sent to you or have not heard from me, follow up with me so I can make sure to see where that was shipped, if that's sitting in our office or if we need to get that to you. Just so you know, all equipment is being shipped to our Seattle office. If it's not going to the coach, and then we'll be bringing it on June 30th, and that's where you'll get your equipment there. Those of you who did request for the stuff to be sent to you for sizing purposes and fitting, make sure once you get that, have them try it on. If it does not fit for whatever reason, let us know immediately, because we can hopefully have enough time then to reorder and get something rushed out to you that is the correct size. So for instance, softball, whether it be your mitt, or the catcher's gear, or the cleats that are being sent to you, soccer, the cleats that are sent to you. Same with basically shoes are really the biggest thing. So let us know if you do get something, or if you have been receiving everything but there's something missing on your order. Let us know so we can follow up with that, make sure to get that in your hands before the games come around. Worst case scenario, we bring it with us and have it there on June 30th and have it ready for you. Again, let us know if you did not request it ahead of time. Let us know if you would like equipment sent to you. Like I said, it is being shipped to our Seattle office. So if that is something where you think that'd be beneficial, follow up with me offline and we can see if we can get that out to you in time. And then it kind of goes without saying, but I felt like I should still list it because we all have a lot going on in our lives right now. If you have the equipment being shipped to you, make sure you bring that equipment to the games. That is the whole purpose of ordering that equipment. Bring it to the games. So there, I said it. Now I wash my hands of it. If it doesn't come, then that's going to be on you. Also, in terms of uniforms, that is coming in to my understanding. I'm over here on the east side right now in Spokane. I'll be going over at the end of this week, but my colleagues have been letting me know that our office is filling up quite a bit with all the uniforms and apparel that is coming in, so that's exciting. Everybody will be trying those on and getting them June 30th at Kaiser Permanente when we come together. Team sports, you have been ordered a home and an away uniform. Those also, if you listed your jersey numbers, those jersey numbers will be printed on the uniforms already for you. Everybody's uniforms will be sorted in their respective bags with a bag tag on the bag. It'll be set separately according to sport and then by team. So when you check in, everybody will pick up their bag. It'll already have their uniform in there. It'll have their undershirts, whatever we are supplying, as well as their backpack will also be stuffed in the bag. So they just grab one bag, and then that team will go over to your designated area, try your stuff on, go through it all, transfer all of your equipment over into the respective bag. So yeah, and then as far as the individual sports, you have been ordered your specific uniforms. One thing that did come up in the coaches' calls for soccer was that the goalie jerseys needed to have a number printed on them. So we have already arranged with David Woodruff, who's with Ink Incorporated, doing all of our uniforms. Once we get those, because we ordered them through BSN Sports, we're going to take them over to him. He's going to get just 0 printed on them. And then that will suffice for what they're requesting. So that being said, I don't believe any soccer goalie jerseys have been shipped to the coach, but if you do have one, let me know because we need to get a hold of that right away so we can get the numbers printed on it. Khaki ordering forms, the infamous khakis that all of us are just loving right now. Those forms are due at the end of today so that we can get those ordered and here in time for June 30th. So please make sure you get that submitted. We are going to start our ordering process first thing tomorrow. That way they can get over here and we can get them sorted. Again, with those, if you're not sure on a size, and so for instance, let's say there's a 34 waist and you're not quite sure, you would probably be best off going with a 36 because they are a lot easier to shrink down than trying to expand. Same with the length. Go a little bit longer because they're easier to hem shorter or just roll up. So just keep that in mind if you've been trying to get a hold of an athlete or what have you and they're not getting you your size, but you have a good idea of it, go ahead and go that route. We will be ordering a few extra sizes as well as having people there on site on June 30th that can make alterations if needed. Obviously they're not going to be custom fit alterations, but any drastic alterations needed, they'll be able to make those on site for us. And then worst case scenario is we do a quick run over to Walmart or the nearby store and get the correct size if needed. So we'll get it figured out. Before we actually move on to this, any questions regarding equipment and or uniforms?
So if we haven't got them, they're just on their way?
Yeah, they're in referring to equipment?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, it's on its way. So again, follow up with me, shoot me an email, And odds are I probably have your tracking numbers, and I can shoot those over to you, and you can see where those are at.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions out there?
So are all the schedules and everything set now?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
if they're not, I'm gonna have to hunt you down.
You're gonna have to hunt me down. It's out of my control.
Hunt you down. Hey, you're the boss. Everything stops at the top.
Oh, I wish I was the boss. No, yeah, there's many, many, many more above me at USA Games. But yeah, we'll get to schedules here. Any other questions?
I'm asking if they're the same.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's coming.
God.
Any other questions for equipment or uniforms? All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on. If you do have any questions, again, shoot me an email or a phone call offline, and we can get that taken care of for you. So for the Team Washington delegation page that we created for you, hopefully all of you have had an opportunity to go and check that out. If not, definitely go there. That is going to be our one-stop shop for all things Team Washington. Again, that is only for the coaches and assisted staff, as there will be some sensitive information posted on there. The delegation reports once we get the finals from USA Games, which will have birthdays on there, all that stuff. But we don't want to just be pushing this out, to the public, or having family members who just have access and then causes more questions amongst you coaches. So this is for the assistant staff and coaches, for you to get resources, and then if needed, then you can share that information. That being said, we have created a Team Washington family webpage, and that is connected to the main Team Washington webpage. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just kind of take you to both of them, kind of show you them real quick. And that way everybody can lay eyes on it and feel comfortable with it. I can figure out what I'm doing. There we go. So this is the delegation, Team WA delegation page. This is password protected, which you received the password in the email when we initially sent it out. It should be once you enter the password, I think your computer remembers it and you won't have to continue to enter it. May not be correct, but you have the password, so you should be able to access it at any time. Everything that's red is hyperlinked. So USA Games webpage. Right here we have the June 30th schedule. The schedules that we currently have right now are the volleyball and soccer schedules for the team sports. There's also the tentative competition schedule. It says tentative, but I am 98% sure that this is the finalized schedule for all of the sports. So individual sports, you're not going to get a whole lot closer than what's already posted. They have the events and what have you. But as far as team sports, those are continuing to be finalized and sent out. As you can see, volleyball and soccer have already been posted because those have been finalized and sent to us. Also here, great resource on just the overview maps, gives you a good layout. The events venue address lets you know where everything is going to be taking place. It has the addresses. So that's a great resource of information that has been posted on the family webpage. But anybody looking for that, they're wondering where stuff's at, they can go ahead and get that. We also posted the dorm area that we are going to be locating, and I'll be showing you that here in a little bit. Forms, as they continue to be generated, we're going to be putting forms on here for you so you can access them at any time. Health and fitness, all of that stuff, how to track it, the challenges, USA Games health and wellness, the schedule for you there during the games. We're going to be posting more onto that as well. And then if you haven't noticed yet, they have updated coaches' handbooks. These handbooks, one big thing is the coaches' meetings, when they're going to be taking place, have been put in here. So you'll notice that it has the date of the 14th. That's when the latest ones that have been updated. So I know you got one at training camp, but these are updated ones for all those sports. So make sure you go there and download it. All the rules that were downloaded from the international, so that way you know that they're updated rules, what they're going to be using at the USA Games. And then also, hopefully you've all had time to view, and your team at that as well, viewed some of the orientation videos that have been sent out. There are going to be more coming out. They're actually really informative videos, and it's just nice getting a visual on what everything's going to look like, especially the dorms. So make sure you watch those. There's only 2 right now, but UW is going to be coming out with, I believe, at least 4 more. So as we get those, we'll post them up here. And those are for everybody to watch. You could even have the parents watch those too. Just gets everybody familiar and comfortable with what's going to be happening. It is just the link. You have to have the link to access it. It's not searchable on YouTube. So if you are going to send it out to your families and your teams, make sure you copy the link and send that out to them, because you won't be able to find it if you just go onto YouTube. So that's the Team Washington page here. And again, we'll continue to put more information up as it comes. And let me see if I can figure out how to navigate back here. And then as far as the Team Washington family webpage, as you can see, this is just the main webpage here. It's the teamwa2018.com. It's the one where we have all the information, the delegation, the profiles. Ken Block looking good there. And then down at the bottom, you'll notice we have these tabs, and then we set aside a tab for the families. We'll continue to put information that will be relative to families, good information for them to have. Obviously, they don't need to be accessing all those sport rules or the delegation reports, but this information is nice for them to have. There is the schedule for the June 30th. There's the addresses for all the venues. What to pack guideline as they're helping their athlete pack. They can access that. Money management form if they're sending money with the athletes. Medication form, so they can go ahead and start filling that out ahead of time, and you won't have to hopefully worry about that, but they can rather fill it out and give it to you. And then just all the overview maps. Some of them they're working on is pretty high def photos, so they're working on getting those posted. But more information will continue to be posted here. And as always, Pam Schmidt, she is our family support coordinator for Team Washington, and she is working with the families to give them all the information they need. So definitely send her that way too, and then make sure that they're registering for the family information. They can join the family mailing list by going to Team Washington delegation and selecting join the family mailing list. That would make more sense to have it under this tab, so I'll see about having them shift that over. But super easy, just a Google's form that they can go and fill out. And then Pam will continue to send out information to them and make sure they stay up to speed on everything that's going on. All right, so now transportation. I know there's been a little bit of confusion as far as how transportation is going to work during the games. So hopefully we can provide some clarity, get everybody comfortable with how it's going to be working. But first and foremost, USA Games transportation and public transportation will be the first and main mode of transportation during the games to and from competitions. They have, I believe it was 68 shuttles and buses that are running the entire time. They have the routes already established that they'll be sending out to us, letting everybody know so you know when shuttles will be driving by. But those are going to be the main modes of transportation. So that being said, we do realize, though, with such a big event going on, that there are chances that mode of transportation may break down or may not be running on time. So as a backup plan, there will be 3 of us assisted staff that will be driving. 2 will be driving 12-passenger vans, and then another will be driving a larger SUV. And those are for teams, let's say for whatever reason, the shuttle service from USA Games is running behind, something happens, you'll be able to reach the assisted staff, and that's when we'll be able to come pick you up and get you to where you need to go. It's not so, hey, we just want to go visit downtown, so can you come give us a ride? That's not what it's intended for, but it is intended for those emergencies that need to happen to get you from A to B, just so you don't miss your games or what have you. There will be that available, as well as, let's face it, there's probably going to be equipment left behind, or perhaps even, hopefully not, knock on wood, but an athlete or somebody on the team who was left behind. this would be a case to where we could get out there pretty quickly and pick up that athlete or and that equipment. So the different public transportations that are available, light rail is going to be a huge one. Definitely utilize light rail. What's nice about that is the last stop on the light rail is right in front of the UW stadium. So easy to get on. It's right there. I think it's only $3 for a round trip to get anywhere downtown and back. So it is one of the cheaper options. Another option is Uber, not the cheapest. Uber is an option. There's also bus transportation and then the monorail. Monorail is mainly from downtown to Space Needle and back. So that's once you get downtown, you can ride the monorail. But really the best mode of transportation to get downtown if you're wanting to from UW is going to be the light rail. One thing that USA Games is stressing is anticipate a lot of walking. UW is a walking campus. They just say, during the school year, their staff, their students, it's a lot of walking on their campus. So anticipate that. Also let family members know and anticipate walking. There will be parking, but it's going to be limited. There's a lot of people coming during the weeks that don't really bank on close parking. So that being said, we're encouraging our family members to park outside, whether it's downtown or at their work, anywhere near a light rail stop. I think even Nordstrom's. Park there and then jump on the light rail and just ride the light rail to UW. That'll probably save them a lot of stress and actually time because they're not going to get stuck in traffic that way. But just make sure everybody knows, anticipate walking. That's just kind of going to be how it is, unfortunately. Going back to transportation and the teams. So no team, how it's going to work is all the teams are going to load on buses. All Team Washington is going to load on the buses to go over to the games on the 30th. So as of right now, no teams will be driving their personal vehicles or rental vehicles to the actual games. Now, that being said, if there's a special circumstance, what have you, reach out to me offline, and if it's a legitimate cause and it gets approved, we may be able to arrange that. But as of right now, due to very lack of parking, as well as if there is any parking, we have to pay for additional parking. So that limits options too. So definitely reach out to me if this is a surprise to you or if there is a reasoning for it. Otherwise, the entire Team Washington delegation will be loading up on buses and traveling over to the games from there, and then relying on the USA Games transportation and public transportation to get around. Any questions on transportation? And I'll kind of talk about on the 30th, kind of how those logistics will work with the rentals.
So I do have just one question. Is there, I can't find the address of that Kaiser Permanente. I'm sure it's in one of the mass emails we've gotten, but I can't find the address where that is.
Yep. Yeah. And that's actually, it's listed on the actual schedule for June 30th, and I'll be pulling it up here too. So we'll be looking at it. And
Okay,
I'll show you right where that's at.
All right.
The good news is it's the same location that we've been to the past couple of times. So it's hopefully becoming familiar with everyone. And since that's a perfect segue, we'll just go right into June 30th. So a couple things before I open up the schedule. Housing for teams traveling who will be traveling more than 60 miles. Well, I don't know why. Oh, yeah, that's why. Sorry. Housing is provided on Friday, June 29th, for teams who will be traveling over 60 miles if they would like. It is something where it is just housing, so there's nothing big or extravagant that's going to be happening on Friday night. You'll just arrive at your hotel, and then you'll just be staying the night and then waking up and coming over on the 30th. That being said, if your team will be requiring housing, that form is due June 20th, so the next couple of days here, so that we can make sure to get you housing and get you taken care of. Also due is the transportation request forms. That's even if you are everybody's getting to Kaiser Permanente on the 30th via personal transportation. We still need that form. We just want to make sure that we know how every team is getting there. So let's say on your team, everybody's getting dropped off by family members. Okay, that's fantastic. I would just go ahead and list just personal vehicle, or just go ahead and write out family members dropping off, what have you, just so we know how it's all taking place, especially too if a team is renting a vehicle. We will need to know that, because how it's going to work is those who are renting vehicles will drive to KP, Kaiser Permanente, and they'll leave the vehicles there, and then we have a team already set that will be returning the vehicles for you. That way we're not paying for them just to sit there during the week. And then that's also, so let's say you're going through Enterprise, we can work with Enterprise ahead of time and say, we're returning these vehicles. We will need these same vehicles, or same model, same kind of vehicle, ready to go to be picked up on July 7th. That way, obviously, you get your vehicles back and you can get home. But we need all that information ahead of time. That's why it's due June 20th, so we can start working out all those logistics and make sure that's all taken care of. If you do decide to drive a personal vehicle, you will need to make sure that you check in with us beforehand and receive approval to drive your personal vehicle. And if you're intending to leave it there, because we have extremely limited parking spaces that Kaiser Permanente is providing us to be able to commandeer during the games. So you need to let us know if you're driving a personal vehicle, because I don't want you to drive it and then realize you don't have a place to park your car. So again, that's why the transportation request forms are needed for anybody and everybody, so that we know, even if it's a personal vehicle, are you planning on leaving it there for the week? So make sure you make those notes on the form when you send it in. Ken, I think you put in that question. Hopefully that answered your question for you. Perfect. Let's see. And then transportation during the games, already went over that, so we're good to go there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is dive into the schedule here, so bear with me as I open this up. All right, so as you've been hearing me say over and over and over again, we're coming together on June 30th at Kaiser Permanente. There's the address right there, 1300 Southwest 27th Street in Renton. Make sure that you get that Southwest in there. If you don't, it's going to send you across the street on the other side, and that's not where we're going to be. So we'll do our best to put out markings so everybody can see where we are at. But it is 1300 Southwest 27th Street. And teams will be checking in at 9:30 a.m. and everything will be going till about 2:30 p.m. So how it's going to work is we are going to have the coaches meeting before the teams check in. One thing we learned at training camp was the overall process seemed to work pretty smoothly. We stayed on schedule. Seemed like everybody had enough time. But the one thing is it was difficult pulling coaches away from the teams during that whole process. So what we're going to do is bring the coaches together before that whole process starts, and that'll be from 8:45 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And that will give us time to be able to sit down with you coaches, give you the lay of the land, show you, okay, here's how this is going to take place at KP. That way, when your teams arrive, you can actually help instruct them rather than trying to learn right alongside them. So hopefully it just helps with the overall process and hopefully get us started on the right foot, and you coaches can have a good idea of what's going on and cut back on any chaos. So that'll be taking place there, as well as any unnecessary information that you will need to know going into the week. And then check-in will begin at 9:30 a.m. for the teams. Now, I realize some of you will be coming with your team, so that's perfectly fine. They just won't be able to start checking in until 9:30, but there's plenty of space and rooms and areas for them just to go park it for a while until it's time to check in, so not a problem at all. We may even put them to work if they show up, helping organize the bags and what have you. So 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. is the check-in process. And then we will have a barbecue style lunch that'll be taking place from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And families are welcome to attend that. There is also going to be a family reception, Team Washington family meeting that'll be from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. For families to be able to get the information they need and feel good about sending their athlete off to practice their games. Whoa, that scared the crap out of me. I don't know who that was. Sorry about that. I had this loud background noise. Sam, I think that was you. I'm calling you out on that one. So we'll do that, and then the picnic, just kind of a fun time to get some food in their bellies and fun hangout time for families to be able to say farewell to their athletes. We're also going to have, similar to what we did for the picnic at Team Washington at the training camp, there'll be some games, some fun activities to do, just kind of a fun atmosphere. So that way when everybody's done or waiting for their turn, there's stuff to do and all that stuff. And then we're going to go into a sports psychology training with Kevin L. Schuler. He's going to help get our minds focused and ready to go for competition, because we're all going to come into that week, with life going on and all sorts of stuff, or just who knows what stresses we're bringing on. So Kevin's going to help refocus our minds, get the team pumped up and ready to go. And then Annalise will help lead us in a fun training, get us all loose and exercised, and make sure to remind people how to, properly warm up and stretch and everything that she knows how to do far better than me. She's going to go ahead and rock that from 1:15 to 1:45. And then we'll do the official send-off of Team Washington about 1:45 to 2:30. And then we will start loading the buses about 2:20 p.m. And however long that takes, hopefully no longer than 10-15 minutes. There will be 5 buses, and teams will be loading buses according to their team. And we'll let you know what buses you'll be loading before we actually start loading. And then those buses will take us off to the games, and they'll drop us off at the dorms. You'll notice here that we want everybody to show up on the 30th wearing their Team Washington, the red Team Washington shirt that they received at training camp. A couple of reasons for that is they are already going to be receiving 2 more of those red shirts to wear during the games. So by them wearing a red shirt on June 30th means that now they will have 3 shirts during the week. So 2 birds with 1 stone right there. There will not be any of the black Team Washington t-shirts during the games. We shied away from that due to it being black and heat and all that, so we just went with 2 red ones. So not the black ones, but the red ones is what needs to be worn on the 30th, and that's also what they'll be wearing for the remainder of the day as we get checked in and move in and all that stuff. And then you'll notice here is the whole breakdown, same as training camp. This is the full breakdown of how it's going to work. It's actually the exact setup, so hopefully everything worked okay for your team. We went ahead and just duplicated it. Again, this is why we do training camp, so we can get everybody familiar, and everyone's been through this before, so it should be good. We're also going to take that time to collect the last data for Fit 5. Since everybody's been training and collecting and documenting their data, I hope this will be a good time to be able to collect all that data again. And Sam, you're on the call, right? Do you want to go and speak to what it's going to look like on the 30th?
Yeah, it's like Steven just said, it's going to be the exact same as training camp. So we'll have everything set up. Kaiser professionals are going to be the ones doing the health metrics, and I think should be pretty seamless, should go pretty well. I thought things went well at training camp, so it'll look just the same.
Perfect. All right. Whoops, I accidentally I muted myself thinking of you, Sam, but you took care of that. So just kind of so everybody knows, check in. It's going to be you'll check in, you'll get all the bags. for your team. Again, they're going to have the name badges on there, and everything for that athlete will be in that bag. Then you'll go over and you'll try your stuff on. If there's any alterations needing to be made, you'll make notes of those, and then you'll take it over to those who can make those alterations for you. Obviously, you may have to leave it and then come back and get it in a little bit. But you'll do all that, and then same with Fit 5. You'll go into your designated spot, do the Fit 5, and then you can go get your bags and all that once it's your time for trying everything on. And that is how the 30th is going to work when we first check in. So any questions on the beginning of the day, kind of how we're all coming together? All right. And just again, we're going to be leaning on you coaches to help direct your athletes once they arrive. So I would communicate with your teams ahead of time, letting them know to come find you first. Before trying to go check in, so that they know when they arrive, here's what's going to take place. And then once they meet up with you, obviously then you can take control and make sure they get to where they need to go. But we will have individuals there helping in the overall process. So if you will be requiring assistance, just definitely let us know, because we can spare a few volunteers to be able to go and help you in the process. We want to make sure everything goes smoothly and efficiently for you. All right. So hopefully all of you have received your housing assignments. I know some of you have been getting back to us with some corrections, which is great. Just so you know, housing assignments have been set. We are right now, any further corrections, and even those that we've received the past couple of days, they are not guaranteed to be made beforehand, because they are accommodating so many people for these games. They're having to not just be making adjustments here and there, because they'll lose track of everything. So what may have to happen is, if these corrections are not able to be made beforehand, we may have to go to the hospitality desk, or the admin desk, I forget what they call it, and make those corrections when we arrive on site. So just know that when we get checked in and see our housings and all that, we're all going to have to work together to make sure we get people in their respective rooms, make adjustments. But keep in mind that we realize that we try to house everybody as best as possible, but given the assignments that we had, the very limited amount of beds, as well as each pod having to be gender specific and them already designated for the female restrooms, male restrooms, what have you, we did the best we could. So I know that some teams are separated by floors. Other teams have athletes housed with, or staying in the same room as another athlete on a different team. But you know what? We're all Team Washington, and we're all competing as one overall team. And we're going to be leaning on each other to help make sure everybody is supervised. And even if it's an athlete that is not on your immediate team, they're a part of Team Washington. So if they are in your pod, we are relying on coaches and chaperones to make sure that everything is going smooth. Don't just plan on keeping an eye on your own athletes. I mean, plan on diving in and helping out and just making sure everything goes smooth, with anything that's around you, whether it's at housing or if we're at events. It's going to be a team effort. So again, the pods are gender specific, as you hopefully saw on the housing maps that we sent out to you. How it will work is I'll be going ahead of time before the delegation on the 30th, and Tyler will be staying back behind at Kaiser Permanente to get all of you on the buses, make sure that's good to go. I'll be going before you to UW, checking the team in, getting all of the key fobs and what have you, the housing assignments. And then when you arrive, you'll be actually checking in with me, and we're going to be working with you on getting your keys, getting you to where you need to go. All of the bags will be picked up by a USA Games team there. So we'll put it all in a pile at Kaiser Permanente. They'll come and pick it up with a box truck, and then they're going to be bringing it over. That being said, depending on how their schedule is looking, the luggage may or may not be there by the time the team gets there. So if the team gets there and the luggage is not there yet, we'll still check everybody in and get everybody up to their rooms. And then once the luggage gets there, we'll notify all of the coaches that, hey, luggage is here, go ahead and come down into the lobby and pick it up. But with that, everybody is getting a duffel bag and a backpack. So if there are items that, basically if you were traveling, if there are items that you may need immediately, put them in your backpack for traveling on the bus. That way, if the duffel bag doesn't arrive right away, they can still manage a few hours without it. And again, backpacks are being provided. Make sure that you do watch the orientation videos. I showed you where those were located on the delegation webpage, so make sure you're viewing those and the new ones that come out. That is very helpful and will make everybody at least give you kind of a visual before arriving on site, knowing what to expect. Items that are provided by the games, and this is listed out in the packing list as well, but I just want to go over this again. They are providing sheets, and it's a full set of sheets, so nobody has to bring sleeping bags, which is great. That's going to save on a lot of space. We are still encouraging everybody to bring your own pillow, just because I know a lot of people have their specific pillows, so just telling everybody, bring your own pillow. Everybody will get a drinking cup. They'll get 1 bar of soap per person to be able to shower with, wash your hands. And then 1 fan per room is provided. So whether that be for white noise or they just like to sleep with a fan on where it gets a little hot in there. Everybody will be receiving 1 key, 1 key fob, and 1 key card. So those are to get into different buildings. And actually, if you watch one of the orientation videos, that will explain why 3 different access keys to be able to get into different buildings. So watch the video and you'll it'll explain why. But just so you know, so that way come checkout time, make sure everybody has 1 of each of those that they're turning back in. Also, one thing that we learned is Team Washington will have 2 fridges available to us. They are mini fridges like what you would see in a hotel room. But 1 will be in my room, and then 1 will most likely be in Tyler's room, so the head of delegation and assistant head of delegation. Those are designated for medication that needs to be refrigerated. So with that, obviously, we'll be working closely with the coaches who need to utilize that to make sure that you have access to it when needed. But just know that we do have refrigeration at the dorms available to us. So I don't know if you've had a chance or not, but we're staying at McMahon Hall. I'm going to pull up the map here. This is also on the web page. But here's where we're staying right here, McMahon Hall. And just to kind of give you a reference point, here is the UW Stadium, the football stadium. So this is where opening ceremonies is going to take place. This is where the 4th of July party is going to take place. And then there is a lot of stuff taking place on these fields as well. And then if you notice here, right here is Walla Walla Road. That's also where a lot of the fans in the stands, vendor row, a lot is happening right in that area. So we're actually fairly close to everything taking place. So that's nice. There's an overpass that you can go over the road. So you don't have to worry about crossing the street a whole lot, and that overpass is just right behind our dorm, right into the parking lot there. So it's a pretty good spot. I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna work fairly well. But this is also something that you can share with families too, so they have just familiar with where their athlete's going to be staying. Let's see. Any questions on housing at this time?
So, no.
Okay.
Well, here's my question. My picture went away on the computer. Is there a way to get it back?
Your picture went away.
I logged back in and it said session is already running, and it won't let me open it back up.
I'm not sure, but we are recording this, so you'll be able to access the recording on the webpage if needed, and you can just skip forward to the part where you missed. the map that I shared, the schedule I shared, it's all a separate attachment that's already uploaded on the webpage. So you can still access all that. But yeah, as far as the view, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm showing that I'm still presenting, so unless others aren't able to see, I think it's on your end there.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So forms, hopefully all of you have seen the forms and have been able to get a start on them. But forms that need to be filled out and submitted on June 30th, we realized that this was also done at training camp. However, the verbiage has been changed to reflect the USA Games on the form. So still the same form, but some of the verbiage has been changed, as well as medication can change from, within a very short span of time. So we need everybody to fill out another medical form and come ready with that on June 30th. Ideally, the family members can get that filled out for you, and then that way you as a coach aren't having to fill out each and every one. So get those out to the families. It's also posted on the family webpage, so they can access it there. And then another thing is the money management. We recognize not all athletes are the best at managing their own funds, so this money management form is something that the parents, the guardians can send with the athletes, stating here's the amount of money that they are being sent with, and stating that they're good to manage it on their own, or they would like the coach to manage it. And then also listing out if there's any specific items they want to make sure that the athlete purchases. So that way you as a coach can make sure to get the athletes over to where they need to be. So if they want to purchase a coat or a USA Games polo, you can make sure that happens for the athlete, because souvenirs are awesome. It's exciting. We all love souvenirs, so making sure that the athlete has the opportunity to purchase what they were intending on purchasing with those funds. But that will also be turned into you coaches from the athletes. So make sure you get those out to the families ahead of time, so that way those can come back with them. And then it also kind of gives them a rough idea on what to expect, some of the opportunities of spending money, things like that, so they can plan accordingly. Forms to be used during the games. You'll notice on the webpage, as well as what we emailed out, there's the release for the day as well as the release for the trip home. Release for the day is if a parent decides, hey, we are really hoping to go visit the Space Needle with our daughter. If that is approved and something that works with you as a coach, they can fill out the release for the day form, and they would fill it out, sign it. You would fill it out, sign it. There's also a phone number on there, so we can make sure to access whoever snagged the athlete for the day, what have you. There's going to be a lot of downtime. So they just kind of anticipate parents putting in that request to come visit with their athletes or snag them for lunch, what have you. As long as that's all documented and it is not causing too much strain on you, and it works within the overall schedule of the team, then that's fine. We just need to make sure that information is filled out and that we know where all athletes are at all times. So if something happens and we all of a sudden aren't accounting for an athlete, and we can look and see that's because they're actually not here. The guardian took them and is assuming responsibility. Otherwise, we're going to be searching all over the place for them. The release for the trip home is the form that they will fill out once the games are done. Basically, it's the parent guardian releasing us of any liability, stating that they relieve us of our duties, keeping track of them, and they assume responsibility and will ensure that they get home safely. As far as for the athletes who possibly will be driving themselves home or what have you, they'll fill that out and sign it off on their own behalf. Request for absence. I know there have been some requests that have come in. Some athletes are staying at home, some of the younger athletes. Others have chosen to rather get a hotel on their own dime for various reasons, not just because that's what they want to do, but because they had reasoning and they ran it through us and we approved it. But they will have to fill out a request of absence form. That form is going to be the same form that we used at training camp, obviously with dates and information changed for the USA Games. That has not come out yet because I am working with USA Games on where the best drop-off and pickup location will be. because ideally that's where it will take place. We'll have one location for all that to happen. That way we're not running all over the place trying to figure out, well, this athlete's getting dropped off over here, but this one's getting dropped off over there. So right now what I am pushing for is to have that happen at our dorms. That being said, I am waiting for USA Games to verify that parents will be able to access up to our dorm to be able to drop them off. If not there, then it will most likely be out in front of the UW Stadium somewhere. So that's coming, just know that. But for those who will be staying off campus, that request of absence form will need to be filled out, and we'll send that out to you once we solidify that. Let's see, binders during training camp. All of you had binders. You're going to be getting those binders back, and it will have all of the AFPs for each of your athletes in the binder, so don't worry about bringing them. We will be supplying those to you. Also, the medication forms will be copied and put in there, as well as myself and Tyler will be getting a copy of those medication forms. You'll have contact lists for Team Washington in there. I know Nicole reached out to everybody asking for what the best contact phone number would be for you during the games. So if you haven't responded to her, please make sure you do that because we are building that contact list and creating our communication plan that will allow us to reach all of you as a group or individually. But if there's an emergency or what have you, we have that all established, as well as if a coach is supervising your athlete or says, hey, they ended up coming with us, you can get a hold of the respective coach and let them know, hey, we have your athlete here, or just be communicating with each other throughout the game. So make sure you get her a good cell phone or a contact number that you will have on you during the games. Then other things that will be in there is we're working on a technical manual. And that is, I know that I've been saying that the past couple meetings, but I can honestly say that we are working on it now because I am in the process of building it. So that's going to have, I know you've been seeing a lot of schedules coming. There's the awards schedule is separate, the competition schedule is separate, as well as all the special events schedule is separate. So we're compiling all of this information coming out in different ways, and we're putting it into one tech manual. That way you can just look there and you can see, here's all the schedules, here's the locations of everything, all the information that you need. So we're putting that together. That's also going to be in your binder for you. So just be looking for that. So the binder, it's going to have everything. Anything that you need, we're going to put in that binder for you. That being said, it never hurts to bring your own stuff if there's specific things that you feel you may need. And then that binder will go with you everywhere. Just like at Special Olympics events, it has AFPs in there, medication forms, so that stays on you at all times and goes with you and the team at all times. Even if you're just going to do sightseeing in Seattle, you take that binder with you as the coach. And just so you know, you coaches are also getting backpacks and duffel bags too. So that kind of takes us into schedules and technical manual. I know that is the thing that everybody is really waiting on is the Team Washington schedule, the schedule for your team. So we are waiting in anticipation just like you. Believe me, if we had it, you would have it in your hands. What we are being told is that those will be coming out any day now. We were told within a week's time frame, and that was a week ago. So we are continuing to monitor our resources and where they post information in our emails, making sure that if anything does come to surface, that we can snag that right away and get that out to you coaches and post it on the webpage. That way families can know what's going on. So some of them have come, soccer, volleyball, those have been posted. That being said, I know that I've been hearing of cases where USA Games has been reaching out individually or directly to the coaches and sending information to you coaches specifically. So if you are getting contact from them, if they have sent you the schedule directly, please make sure to forward that to myself right away. That way I can just make sure to know what you are receiving. And then if you end up getting it before I get it, because that has happened, unfortunately, I can go ahead and then get that posted and update all of our systems too. So we'll work together. I promise to send it to you as soon as I get it, if you promise to send it to me as soon as you get it. But that being said, too, the individual sports, just like any state competition, you're going to see the schedule set up for each venue, as well as male, female, what have you. So you're not going to get anything much closer to a schedule than that. That has already been posted on the webpage, and that is the general, I guess, the games schedule that has everything listed. The front page has all of the different games, the days they're competing, or all different sports, days they're competing, the schedule, the time. But if you scroll down, you'll see that all the sports are broken down, so you'll be able to access yours there. Team sports, though, obviously you have games that need to be scheduled, so some of you are still waiting on that. And then just so all of you know, too, we're going to be bringing a printer copier that will be in my room. So if there is anything that you need to scan, copy, print, what have you, we will have access to that, and you can work with me, and we'll make sure to do that whenever you need. So. And then before we go into questions, just a reminder, now, we're on the home stretch, so we're going to do another meeting this Sunday, June 24th, from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And our hope is that we have all the schedules and everything solidified, and it's a last minute go team go, catch up on any of the last minute loose end items. By then you should have received all of your equipment. That should all be solidified, ready to go. We will have a really good idea as far as how we're looking for uniforms, because we're going to be packing all the bags and organizing everything at the end of this week, from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have a team come together. So this next meeting happening this Sunday is going to be just the last minute to catch up on any of the last minute items. So that being said, I know there are still a decent amount of questions out there, some loose ends. So please keep emailing us, keep calling us as needed. We're going to do our very best to respond as quickly as possible, get as many answers as we can for you. But yeah, so next meeting, Sunday, June 24th. If you can make sure that all of your coaches are on there, or at least somebody is representing your team, that would be good. Well, I have done enough talking. So that being said, are there any questions out there right now that I can do my best to answer for you? And again, if you're trying to talk and we're not hearing you, you can use the chat box as well.
So are we going to be able to, if we have our team, are we going to be able to, when we have downtime, take them off campus, or do we have to fill out a form every time? I mean, like if we decide, hey, we're going to go to the Shell Center because we have time, hop on the link and go to the Shell Center. Is that?
Yes. So as long as you are going as a team and they're with you. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yep. There's going to be downtime, and thank you for bringing that up. Definitely, there's going to be downtime. So that being said, there's activities and things going on campus that you can go and be a part of. But obviously, downtown, there's going to be sightseeing that you're going to want to go be a part of too. So, yeah, plan on doing that with your team. It's always fun going down to Pike's Place, down to Seattle Center, Space Needle, what have you. That being said, anything outside of USA Games or competition is going to be on each individual to be able to cover that financially. So if you know what you're wanting to do, definitely prep your team ahead of time so they know what they can bring so they can go out and experience all that.
Okay.
Any other questions out there? Oh, we had one come in here on the chat box. Yes, Ken, I'll be in the office in the AM, so go ahead and shoot me a phone call. I'd say probably about 9 a.m. would be best. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. I know there's still a lot of stuff we're solidifying. It's going to be games, and they're big games, and it's an entire week. So one thing we're all going to have to be ready for is one, lack of sleep, but also just be ready to be flexible. Things are scheduled, things will happen the way that they're scheduled, but as you know, being in Special Olympics, sometimes you just have to roll with the punches. So we're going to do the best we can as the assisted staff to make sure that we have everything as solidified as we can for you coaches, and that you can go into the week just knowing what's going to be happening. We're working just constantly trying to make sure that we're gathering information. We have a fair amount of questions out to USA Games, waiting to get answers back so we can continue to solidify even when our delegation meetings are going to happen, each evening, and where they're going to happen. So we're going to do the best we can, and we're going to, during the week, we'll be working tirelessly right alongside you to make sure everything's going well and smoothly. And just so you all know, too, we are bringing on day of volunteers that will be able to help with chaperoning. They cannot go onto the field of play, but they are allowed to go to the venues and the residence halls. So we're going to make sure that we have day of volunteers just to help with chaperoning, and even going to the events and what have you during the downtimes. They'll be able to help with the team. So it's going to be good. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be an experience for everybody. So again, any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and we will talk to you on this Sunday, June 24th at 5:30 p.m. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thank you.